All right, everybody, welcome back to the Greenhouse Podcast. I can't say that I have my truest partner in crime with me today. He doesn't look quite as pretty as Shannon, but with me today on the podcast is Jon Laster. Jon and Tina and their family have been a part of our church since almost the beginning. We probably could just say the beginning. He serves on our staff as a senior associate pastor and kind of provides oversight to a lot of different things. Mainly, I would say he's like the sticky guy. Like he has a lot of fun and helps people get connected, whether that's men's, his wife does women's or groups and just various other things. So today, we want to talk a little bit about men's ministry because we're getting ready to go on a retreat that Pastor Jon's been working on for a while, and it's our first one, so it's going to be great. So that's kind of what we want to talk about, but we'll probably talk about some other things that maybe the angels long to look into. So Jon and I have been running together, like I said, since we started the church. So there's lots of like good,
stories.
Bad, and ugly. So maybe like open the day, just tell people a little bit about like just who you are and even some of your history and how long you've been in Middle Tennessee, all that type of stuff.
Yeah. So what I heard you say when you opened is I'm the booger of Christ Chapel. So everything just kind of sticks, or I stick.
Exactly.
Anyway, good thing Landon's a good editor.
As long as you don't eat them.
Yeah, which that's a story too. Not for me or you, of course. But
Yeah.
Tina and I and Cole moved to Middle Tennessee a little over 19 years ago. Cole was still inside Tina's tummy. We made the decision to leave everything we known and move south at probably the craziest time any dad, husband, leader could do. Probably the dumbest decision that ended up being the best decision.
Right.
But it all worked out. Something that's been interesting about Tina and I's life, the way we've led our family, that we didn't choose to lead our family, is we have historically chosen or not chosen, however you look at it, to be part of church plants. And that comes with some things.
I think you're probably going to have like an additional couple jewels in your crown that, for all the setup and tear down and
there's scars too. Scars, jewels. That sounds
some
like a
trauma,
country song.
some counseling.
Yes, counseling, everything.
So small inside thing that Jon and I talk about periodically is we use a phrase, cue up the Currington. So Billy Currington, country artist, we lived near Nashville, and he's got this song, God is great, beer is good, and people are crazy. So,
it's like the sandwich on the front end and the back, and God is good and people are crazy.
Exactly. But you guys moved to Jackson?
We did. We moved to
19 years ago?
Jackson, Tennessee, June of 2006. Cole was born the very next month, and it was the first time we've really had to look for a church. And lo and behold, we get I think it was a card in the mail. We decided to roll the dice, go check it out, and we stuck.
And stayed in Jackson for
A little over 2 years.
and then moved to where you are now?
Yep.
Spring Hill,
Yep, Spring Hill. The backstory is when Tina and I knew we wanted to move south, we were basically choosing between here, maybe Jacksonville, Florida, the Gulf Coast, something like that. We just knew we didn't want to raise a family back home.
in where? Hammond, Indiana?
I was from the good old ghetto of Hammond, Indiana. So if it seems like I have trust issues, just look up Hammond, Indiana,
So good.
and you'll know why. Where was I going?
No, you moved from Jackson to Spring Hill.
Yeah, when we did move here, we really wanted to be in Spring Hill. We had no idea why, which the longer we're here, we realize no one knows why they're in Spring Hill, so that makes you think the Lord may be up to something. But people just don't pick Spring Hill to move to. They kind of move here when they want to be in Middle Tennessee. And at that time, Franklin was so expensive. Homes were like $200,000, and it felt like we needed to be in Spring Hill. So started looking for jobs, had a couple of music opportunities, to be honest, that would bring us this way. We decided like the weekend before we came that this just isn't the path we wanted.
Yeah.
I was going to be a grown up, get a regular job, not going to serve lattes and travel in a van on the weekend. And that took us to Jackson, Tennessee for 2.5 years, a little under 2.5 years. We knew we weren't there long term, so we got involved in a church plant, stuck it out, and ended up right here in Spring Hill.
Moved to Spring Hill.
17 years ago almost.
Was a part of another church plant.
Yes.
And then another church plant?
Yes. And then the final church plant.
But like you used to like drive like
yes.
a ways to do it. It wasn't like, it wasn't even like you were a part of a church plant in Spring Hill.
Yeah, and that's actually what led us to Spring Hill. The backstory is we were part of a great church in Nashville that we loved people, felt like we belonged there. It was great. But after time goes on, we realized that time we were rubbing pennies together just to get gas to go to work kind of thing and make sure we eat. And we realized that we were driving separately every Sunday. Tina and the kids would come. Sometimes I would take Cole with me to set up chairs at 5 a.m. at church. We'd leave the house at 5. Getting a 4-year-old up to go to church at 5 o'clock it's
so awesome.
I don't know if it's wisdom or stupidity, but it's somewhere in between there. And that's what we did with Cole. Cole has probably scars on his back. If you see him not wanting to touch a chair, just know he's touched plenty of chairs in his life. But we realized that, we were making friends in Mount Juliet, Hendersonville. We live in Spring Hill. One thing about church in Nashville, at least the church we were a part of, everyone came to Nashville from surrounding cities to go there. So it was hard to do life in community in that setting. And we just knew that we wanted more than that. We were fast forward a little bit. Kids were starting school here in Spring Hill. We were building a house. We just felt like it was time to be here in Spring Hill. And Spring Hill was actually on the map at that point. Like, hey, people actually live in Spring Hill.
Oh, that's crazy. So part of your experience, like though, in all those church plants, like you were always involved. And so like serving and those type of things have always been important. But even beyond just like the passion that you've had for the local church, and we say that you got to love what Jesus died for. Yep. And part of that's like practically serving, but you've told the story multiple times just about how you found some of your lifelong friends, meaning the people that you still are in contact with by serving.
Oh yeah, serving, and it's kind of a all-in-one package, serving, community, the whole 9 yards. A lot of times people want community, they don't know how to get it, and sometimes it's just rolling up your sleeves and getting dirty with the people next to you. You hear the old war stories. It goes back to like battle. People fought together in the war. It's kind of what we do.
Right, slinging chairs,
everything else in between.
Cleaning toilets, flicking boogers. I mean, just whatever it takes.
I have, outside of our church and the men here, probably my closest friends I have met stacking chairs, serving in a ministry somewhere along the way.
So men, obviously important to the heart of God. Even part of the story of our church is before we met publicly in a movie theater or gathered corporately as a church, there were two things that were happening. We had youth in our home because we had middle schoolers, and then we started a men's group. And to me, it's always been this prophetic picture that our church would be known for those two things and that it would need to be prioritized in the life of our church. So that's part of what we've tried to do weekly with things that we do. But then now we're at this point where, you bear in your body the reality of like set up and tear down church. You're just, a lot of it's just survival. You want to live to see another week. And, we've been in our building now 2 years.
And we're still setting up and tearing down.
And that seems like it's you've always said, it's never going away.
I got friends that work at one of the biggest churches in the country, and they still set up and tear down the sanctuary.
I think it's probably healthy, keeps you moving. But now that we're, a little bit more mature, meaning we're pushing up on 9 years, I say we're like the second or third grader that doesn't have his front teeth, or they're growing in weird. We're going to need braces soon. But we're able to offer things that we couldn't offer before. Some of it's timing, some of it's maturity. And when we turned this new year, we've talked about this retreat. It was something on your heart, and I thought, man, this would be great. We got to get away.
In all honesty, it was something that was on your heart. I rolled my eyes at for probably 2 or 3 years, just being honest. I'm like,
how are we going to do this?
This guy wants me to take X amount of guys I feel like I'm leading youth camp.
It is.
I'm sure guys will stink. I'm sure it's going to be all the fun. But what really got my attention was my wife, who runs Sisterhood. When you lay in bed next to the same person every night and you start talking about what your day was like, and I hear about what the Sisterhood retreats were like, how can we make this happen for the guys? It's going to look different, feel a little different, but it's going to have a very similar outcome.
Yeah, there's something about like just getting off the treadmill and the hamster wheel. You know, guys have lots of pressure, you know, to provide. You know, we live in a culture that's demanding. But then even Middle Tennessee, you know, it's like it's got its own
special sauce.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so, you know, the reality of pulling guys, I mean, really just offering it, it's like almost a miracle that we're going to have 50 guys. You know, I mean,
maybe 51. I'm waiting to hear.
On some levels, I know that's relative to whatever, but like having guys leave, spend the night, overnight, that in itself just kind of reorients people to really a possible encounter with God.
Yep. The other side of that, the spiritual aspect of it too, is, I mean, I can already sense it around just from little things I've heard in my own home, just being honest. The enemy doesn't like it. So he's going to make sure something breaks, someone lose their mind, you know, dog gets sick, cat goes missing. A friend of mine, Pastor Steve out in California, he'd say, every time I'm going out of town, the cat will disappear, end up on the roof in a tree as I'm leaving to go catch a flight.
Right.
The enemy's just not going to roll over for that. So that helps me know, it brings me comfort knowing this is what we're supposed to do.
So a couple of the things that, you know, I want to highlight a little bit, you know, in our session, and maybe we can talk just briefly about these. And then next week we're going to have a follow-up podcast where
if we make it back,
but reveal all the stories, you know, who belched the loudest, whose fart stunk the most, you know, whatever comes out, you know, it's going to be
just, who on staff got their head shaved.
It's going to be awesome. But in prayer this week, as I was thinking about, like, you know, trying to curate these opportunities during certain sessions that we have. And again, it's not like we're going over there and just going to pray for 3 days. You know, we're going to live it up, eat good. I mean, you got things planned. I don't even know.
I'll say this: the chubby pastor's in charge of food. It's going to be good.
That's right. It's like one guy I worked for. He said, "Never ask a skinny guy where to eat." So,
truth.
You know,
you're welcome.
Thank you. But part of these 3 phrases came out to me, and one of them, guys are living before they get there. You talked about opposition, and it was like, I want to remind guys to not be disillusioned by opposition. Like, we should expect it.
Yep.
You know,
count it all joy.
Right. Count it all joy. Know that if we're taking territory in our lives, it's going to be opposed. And I think guys quit.
Yep.
Or like, again, get disillusioned by, man, I'm going to pursue God, and it's going to be just, you know, like, chariots of fire, their hair blown back, their wife just loving them, waiting hands on foot. When really it's like, you know, she's probably going to give you the bird that week or something. I don't know. Like, you know, you'll probably be in the biggest fight of your life and your kids losing their mind. But it's almost if it's not happening, you know, it's like my grandma used to say, I don't know if her theology was good, but like, you know, it's like if you're not being opposed, you ain't doing much.
It's truth.
So I think helping guys understand that. The other thing is like helping guys not be sabotaged by their distractions. You know, so being in a different location, and being able to like really focus on the Lord and like have Him do something deep in their lives, so that they can, you know, be transformed. And the last thought, which I know one of your sessions, you're planning to cover a lot of this, but don't be like self-absorbed by isolation.
Absolutely.
Like guys are notorious for just like laying down. Either they feel like their shame isolates them, pride, a myriad of things could do that. But part of what we're going to be talking about is like no man left behind.
Yep. I firmly believe that. That's a little bit of the story of my life. Long story short, I won't spend much time on it, but I almost died in 2009. And some of those guys that I served with, schlepped chairs with, were in a community group at Merides in Franklin on Tuesday mornings. They didn't give up on me. Some of them didn't really know me. And it was really cool. I still say this, Pastor Larry Day in Franklin, he was one of the brave souls to come visit me in the hospital when I had, before COVID was popular and everybody had it, and it was what we have today. I had double pneumonia and swine flu. He had to suit up in a hazmat suit. I remember looking up and seeing this guy standing over in the corner, reaching out and praying. I'm like, who is dumb enough to come out here and pray for me? And it was someone that cared.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's what it takes. If everyone served someone, a lot of things would resolve. If everyone cared about just one person and believed truly in no man left behind, it sounds cliche and kind of cheesy. And then I just felt it tattooed on my heart that if everyone cared about someone and said, I'm not going to let this guy fall behind, the world would be a different place.
And part of like even fulfilling what Jesus said was the greatest commandment, loving him with all our heart, soul, mind, and strength. That means we have to embrace self-denial. But the beauty of self-denial is that we get God. And then when we get God, we're able to love other people, which is what he said, and love your neighbor as yourself. That's the no man left behind thing.
Yep.
And I think our shame, our pride, our money, our busyness, none of those things are worth missing out on like the human relationship. It's been weird for me because the last 2 weeks I've officiated 2 celebration of life services or funerals. And there really were 2 people that I didn't know super well. One guy was named Pork Chop. I mean, that was his nickname. I didn't even know his real name, and then and another person was an older lady that had lived a healthy life. And, I think in the end, I asked the question, what's really going to matter? It's like who I've loved and who's loved me. And like, it's like this picture of like, I feel like if God in his kindness could give us a little bit of a glimpse of like who's going to be at our funeral, it would probably change the way we live, because sometimes nobody's there and it's like, it's sad.
Yeah.
And then there's other times where it's just so packed, where people have just kind of loved well and embraced this like no man left behind. And, I think, community, connectedness, that's why we do things like this retreat. It's just so that guys are not trying to figure it out on their own, because it just doesn't work.
At the end of the day, Jesus was the perfect, will be, and continue to be the most perfect model of how to live life. Which, why did Jesus come? He came to serve. When you serve people and you take time and you care about them and you truly, again, believe the no man left behind, so many things take care of themselves. I can't say that enough. If we just truly cared about people and served each other, just like marriages, a lot of marriages are broken. People can't serve each other. They serve themselves and only care about themselves.
Right.
It's just bombs going back and forth. Well, you won't do this. Well, you won't do that. You're lazy. You stink. You, whatever it is. And it's like that with kids too. Any relationship, it comes back to what are you giving versus what are you wanting.
I got a side kind of funny question.
Is this what Landon's going to have to edit?
No, I think we'll keep this in.
Okay.
He used this word schlep. Can you give me a Jon Laster definition and a spelling of that? You schlepped chairs.
Neither of these are probably legitimate, but schlepping chairs is what I called when you're doing something, your heart's there, but your will's not with it either. You're schlepping chairs. You're doing something because you're
slinging them in place.
I'm serving in Jesus' name. I don't want to, but I'm going to serve anyway. So we call it schlepping, HLEP. Do not chat GBT or whatever kids do
okay.
these days with that.
Dude, don't
Schlep it.
Don't schlep it.
Yeah.
What are you most excited about this retreat?
I have been very surprised at who has registered. Just being honest, I don't know who's going to listen to this or not. But when you look at the registration list, it is a mixed bag of nuts. Lots of introverts that I know took a lot of
Cojones
yes.
to register?
Yep.
You think some wives got involved? And
maybe some guys don't even know they're leaving yet until Thursday morning. Their wives did the romantic thing of, we took off work for you,
right.
kind of thing. And but I know it's going to be really cool because there's guys that had to dig really deep to go, and I know that their knees are shaking because it's going to be special.
It's going to be really good. It's going to be really good. Well, I mean, I think, our hope is that dudes connect with God first, and then they connect with other people, with other men, and find, purpose, meaning, life, transformation, because I think what makes healthy families is when dad's healthy. And I know everybody that's going may not have children or whatever, but like healthy men, it's a gift to the kingdom of God. It's a gift to the community, and it's part of what we want to see, not just in our church, but in this region, and helping men discover their identity and walk in it. And I think it's going to be great. And I look forward to like our follow-up conversation on like what was the craziest thing that happened, what was the funniest thing.
I'm pretty wild-minded and can dream up some things. I have no idea what's going to happen. Yeah. I do look forward to Trevor Duffy riding down a Sky Mountain coaster, freezing his tail off.
Good. And that's going to be, he's such a large man.
That's what's funny. It's going to be great.
It's great. Well, if you're listening to the Greenhouse podcast and you're like, man, I'd love to be a part of a church that really cared about men and focused on their spiritual health and life, we'd love for you to be a part of what God's doing here. And every Thursday morning, we meet at the Goat at 5:45, the Fainting Goat Coffee Shop that's in Spring Hill. If you're watching or listening somewhere around the world, we do have a clip, an idea for you to experience the podcast from that. Some things get said on that may be a little bit more than PG, but we know that God's not called men just to be soft or nice. There's more to it. And God's inviting men into this adventure with Him where they discover who they're supposed to be in Him, and that, brave masculinity is from God. And so just thrilled about what God's doing. And next week we will have an updated report.
Lord willing, and the creek don't rise.
on the good, the bad, and the crazy. And we may have to say, cue up the Currington. We'll see. Thanks for joining us today. We'll see you next week.